Text Kathleen Trost, it worked.
Ready to send it?
Yes.
I'll send your message.
Text Kathleen Trost. I should be pulling up soon.
Ready to send it?
Yes. I should be on the event page. Let me know when you guys see me. All right. Okay. This is so strange. I'm not going to lie. Thanks everybody for your patience. Yay! We did it, technology. Thank you, Siobhan France, Dr. Siobhan France, for working me through it. Who knew you had to clear out your cookies? So I am here and I can't see any comments or anything, but I'm here to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Kadin. And I am going to be presenting to you tonight on how to protect yourself and your family and your loved ones from EMFs. So hopefully I can figure this all out. I'm trying to get into the event and see myself, but it's one of those things where you're like, I can't see myself. Okay, anyway, I can't right now. I'm gonna just share the screen and start the presentation, and I'm sure my dear friends will let me know if I am not able to be seen. So, all right, so this is the topic tonight, and I am excited to be here with you guys. And so my topic this evening is a biohacking doctor's simple strategies to implement to protect your family from EMFs. Okay, what did you just say? Oh, okay. So here we go. This is my little disclaimer. I am sharing this with you. I am sharing what I have researched, what I have found to be helpful. This is by no means an exhaustive list. Due to the allotted time and the scope of this presentation, I found that basically just being as simple as possible makes the info easier to digest and implement for my patients and family. So nothing I share is designed to cure, mitigate, treat, or heal disease, nor replace your medical doctor's advice. So just that disclaimer for you guys. So what are EMFs? EMFs are electromagnetic fields. They're the physical fields that are produced by electrical objects. They fall in a spectrum. There are natural ones, there are man-made or human-made ones, and that's going to be the focus of what I'm talking about today. So there are a variety of different types of EMFs. And I'm curious, let me know if you've actually heard of these different types in the comments, keeping in mind that I won't be able to see them, but some of my colleagues and friends who have invited you this evening will be able to respond to you. But there are 4 more dangerous ones, more documented to be dangerous, and they are radio frequency, magnetic fields, electrical fields, and dirty electricity. So that is what we're going to be discussing a little bit today. This quote really stuck with me, and since my passion is working with kids and pregnant women and helping to foster what's called optimal neurodevelopment, which is basically having your brain function properly, having this quote from Harvard Medical School doctor Martha Herbert. She said, I think there is a strong enough scientific support to argue that EMFs are important to degrading the optimal chemical electrical function of our bodies, thereby detuning our brains and nervous systems. When our bodies have incredible stress at the chemical, immune, and electrical levels, our brain health is compromised. So children will be more vulnerable as their brains are still developing, and therefore the neurological effects are even greater. So let me know below if you've noticed that kids' brains are not functioning the way they used to, or yours maybe isn't functioning the way it used to. And maybe after tonight, you'll be able to see whether or not it's linked to your exposure to EMFs. So we're literally being bombarded, hijacked, if you will, on all fronts from a variety of different sources of radiation. RF sources would be things like phones, smart meters, like the smartphones, Wi-Fi, microwaves, 5G, and Bluetooth devices. MF sources, the magnetic frequency, are electrical chargers, high voltage power lines, electrical panels, houses with faulty wires, electrical current, and on water and gas pipes. EF sources would be things like household wiring, power strips, underground sources, cords, chargers, lamps, etc. And then dirty electricity was something I didn't know about until I did some advanced coursework this summer, from having a building biologist discussing this with us. And, you know, CFL or fluorescent lights, sure, but I didn't know that solar panel inverters and dimmer switches and smart TVs were that high of sources of dirty electricity. So hopefully that you know that I'm not going to leave you guys all hanging in doom and gloom. I'm definitely hope to be a little bit of a hope broker for you tonight, but let me know in the comments if you were even aware of all these different sources of EMFs. All right, so moving, oh gosh, I love technology, right? So we are hijacked at all times. We are connected. We just got a new washing machine, and our washing machine has an option to text me when my load is done, which I shut that off. I got sick after I bought my new car, and I didn't realize part of the reason why is A, I'm sensitive, and B, my car had a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all this different stuff, which, you know, it wasn't just the toxins from the new car smell, it was all of these other bells and whistles that everybody thinks is so cool. But I shut those things down. I turn off their communication system, and I take it in like good old fashioned, you know, taking your car to a car dealership to make sure everything's copacetic rather than having them be emailed. Here are two of the most vulnerable populations, children and pregnant women. I think this is probably looks pretty shocking, but it's actually, this should probably make everybody shake in their boots a little bit. The far left picture on my screen is of a 5-year-old, and you have a 10-year-old and an adult, and that is with the use of the brain effects from microwave cell phone radiation. So, you know, imagine a newborn. Basically, our heads, our brains are meat, it's tissue. And if you think about what a microwave does to tissue in the form of like your food in 30 or 40 seconds, and compare that to the 168 or more hours or some crazy number that we're spending on our technology, we are literally putting ourselves at risk. It's half the strength of a microwave to be putting cell phones near our heads. And forget the fact that we're putting them on gestating uteruses, gestating humans inside our bellies. You've got to keep this stuff away from you. It says in all of the technological fine print, 5 millimeters, but really closer to 6 to 7 inches is what I'm going to recommend to you. We would probably never buy half of the things that we do if we knew. So like, I think the Apple Watches are cute, but I don't wear one. I would love to measure my like sleep and all that, because my sleep is pretty good, but I don't measure it. I don't know if any of you guys do that too, but if you do measure, and just let me know if maybe your technology allows you to shut off the Wi-Fi when you're sleeping and just sync it once a day. That might be a wise thing. All right, moving on. So with regard to cell phone radiation, FTC guidelines for evaluation, sorry for the spelling error there, for the environmental effects of radio frequency radiation, last time was over 23 years ago that there were guidelines, August 1st, 1996, 23 years ago. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but the cell phone that I have now, wasn't even in existence 10 or 11 years ago. So Lord only knows how much we're being exposed to. Also, the WHO says, the World Health Organization says that wireless radiation is a class 2B possible carcinogen. What does that mean? It means it's in the same category as lead and the insecticide DDT, which we all know is not good for us. But you know, you have to keep an open mind. Even ginkgo biloba is in this category too, because we don't know what we don't know. So since we can't all run and go live off grid, which would probably be the healthiest thing, and I certainly enjoyed my trip to Ireland because there was like 3G maximum cell phone connection, and like fresh open fields of green and like very little sun because it was raining all the time. So very little radiation. So anyway, education and action, subsequent action are key. So let's see. Here are some of the symptoms, and this really got me because these are the symptoms that bring patients to my office. And I just really want this to sink in for you because these are the signs and symptoms of stress. These are the signs and symptoms of our body being dysregulated by free radical damage. Sleep problems, stress and anxiety, headaches, ringing in the ears, memory problems, learning problems, fatigue, muscle weakness, disorientation, heart palpitations, eye problems, arthritis, and there are numerous lists out there that you can find out how many different symptoms relate to this. Personal experience besides Ireland, about 2 months ago, we had a power outage, and I live near a power line, so that's something I don't love, but I live near a power line, and we had a power outage. Everything was off. Everything. There were no hums, there was no Wi-Fi, there was nothing. And I literally felt a decrease in just systemic kind of buzz, because a lot of us are experiencing that like nervous system buzz. So if you've been feeling that, let me know if you're sensitive like I am to it. Just write in something like, I can feel the buzz or something like that in the comments. Because you probably need to pay attention to some of the things I'm going to share here more than anybody else. So if these are symptoms that are on your radar for you or a loved one, and they haven't gone away with any of the other things that you've been doing, because believe me, I have a crazy story. I was doing all the things and my symptom of a skin condition wasn't going away. So EMFs are huge. All right. So this is small print and the picture is teeny, but I do review it a little bit later. But this is where we get a little science-y. In the absence of concrete direct correlation evidence, I recommend that we all practice what's called the precautionary principle. And it basically states that when there's anything new or new product or process whose ultimate effects are disputed, which is scarier, or unknown, it should be resisted. So instead, we should be focusing on facts. And here are some facts about EMFs. Number one, EMFs affect all animals. Number two, your entire body runs on electricity. Number three, every cell in your body can feel EMFs. Number four, every cell in your body gets hit by EMFs in different ways. For instance, they cause DNA damage. They mess up what's called voltage gate calcium channels, which is going to be a bigger discussion later on. And EMFs open up your body's barriers against toxic invaders because it makes your blood-brain barrier kind of permeable, open, which is not good. It's supposed to be a barrier for a reason. If you want some really amazing and compelling information, and you're somebody who likes YouTube clips, or maybe you like to read more, Martin Pall, who's a PhD, heavy amounts of research and very well schooled and studied. There's a link here, but basically if you type in Martin Pall, PhD, and EMFs, it will blow your mind. And this picture here really is just showing when we're exposed to these EMFs, it opens up the voltage gate calcium channels. It increases basically like this constant calcium opening in our brain, and allows bonds to be broken, peroxynitrite, leading to free radical damage, oxidative stress, which is from the free radical damage. And that is basically going to deplete our body's ability to fight any infection or anything and lead to what's called inflammation in a pathway called NF-kappa B. Again, a longer conversation for another day. I can get all nerdy with my functional medicine self. If you've ever heard of NF-kappa B or NRF2, or you're already aware of this and voltage gate calcium channels, maybe make some note in the comments so that we know who's already woke on EMFs. All right. So how do the EMFs affect the body's ability to heal? Basically, decreases your melatonin production, which affects your sleeping. So blue light from tech also does this, and that increases dopamine and decreases your serotonin. But the whole blue light and technology responsibility is another conversation for another day. But EMFs are affecting melatonin production. We reduce your body's two key antioxidants when you have excess EMFs: superoxide dismutase and glutathione. If you have heard of either one of those, especially my favorite, glutathione, our body's master detoxifier, let us know in the comments. Upregulating your body's ability to make its own is probably one of the best things you could do for your health. It's linked to everything health-wise. Glutathione is an antioxidant your body makes. Some people are given it, but it's not the same as making your body to do it on its own. Another thing that EMF does is makes your red blood cells kind of clump together, which leads to less circulation of oxygen and therefore less healing. And EMFs also increase your cortisol levels, which is a key stress hormone. And we all know what stress does to our body. It makes us sick. So here's a bigger picture, and I felt so proud of myself with my use of PowerPoint and my little arrows. So this is just a bigger view of what happens with the exposure to the EMFs. Opens up the voltage gate calcium channels. You have excess amount of calcium, and instead of going down this pathway where you can use your mitochondria, which are the powerhouse of your cells, create energy, create good hormones, and create the proteins necessary to help your body to heal and succeed at being a human in this world, it goes instead to superoxide, goes to peroxynitrite, goes to carbon dioxide, goes to free radical damage and subsequent oxidative stress pathophysiological effects, which is basically pathology, like your body is sick and inflammation is upregulated. But what we want instead is for our bodies to go to this pathway to where the star is, and you have therapeutic effects of activating this pathway, NRF2, and decreasing the NF-kappa B. If you are already activating your NRF2 pathway, and this isn't like Greek to you, go ahead and leave a comment in there like, I'm activated. And let us know that you already are activated, and let me know if you know what mitochondria is. Maybe put a GIF about what a mitochondria is, like the powerhouse of the cell. There are some fantastic memes out there. Moving on. This is very small print, but this is in a healthcare practitioner's guide on EMFs, talking a little bit more about EMF sensitivity and the effects on the cell. So trust me, like your body's DNA, your cell's DNA is completely destroyed and affected by this. So what else do we do? Well, I have an extensive list. It's not completely exhaustive, but these are some of the things we do in my family. So maybe try this for yourself. Number one, there are 3 Ds of EMF exposure: distance, degree, and duration. So you want to be less close to the sources, less intensity, and 3, less time using it, okay? Some of us are more sensitive than others, like I said I was, and mold and mercury and other heavy metals effects are all intensified by EMFs. That was something that blew my mind when I found that out. And talking to a building biologist, literally, if you have mold in your house, it will grow exponentially if it's exposed to EMFs. If you knew that, definitely say, I knew about mold and EMFs in the comments. And this is why what I'm sharing with you today has been so revolutionary for my health and that of so many of my patients and friends. Educating yourself. Number one, I really like this book, The Non-Tinfoil Guide to EMFs. There's a website and there is a link there, nontinfoilemf.com/book bonus. It is listed in the front page of this book. I don't know if you guys can see it there, but in the front page of this book, it basically says if you want to bypass reading all the things, you can go here and you could probably put in your email address and get a guide on how you can improve things for yourself. I have no links, affiliate links to any of this stuff. I just am somebody who's fascinated by how I can optimize the function of bodies that I'm presented with and the health of my family and myself. Number two is the Radiation Nation book, which I actually think this one was based off of this one. And it's an easy read. It's a nice read. Radiation Nation. It's right there. Some of the pictures that you're seeing are from this book and the other book. Practice safe tech. It's kind of a funny hashtag. They do have a hashtag practice safe tech. It should make us all wink and smile. So if you already practice safe tech, hashtag us practicing safe tech. So what you would look for there is prefer or seek out non-wireless connections, provide cord connections, request cord connections. There are still Ethernet cables available to you. Maximize your distance between devices and persons. Often power off as often as you can, especially your wireless networks and personal devices, and then respect electricity, wires, environments, and persons. Number four, I really like Dr. Mercola, Mercola.com. I think he has a great amount of information on there. If you choose to use more like scientifically written material, even though he definitely links to the science, you could go to pubmed.gov, which is the National Institutes of Health Library of Medicine, and this information is starting to show up there, as well as scholar.google.com that takes out paid advertisers from Google who are trying to link you into their stuff and just gives you the facts. So these are really great websites to help you find out the latest and greatest. Other tools, there are Faraday cages. Basically, they're blocking devices. I have some pictures of things later on that we use in our house. Measure your exposure and shield and change as necessary. I have a tri-field device where, you know, if I turn it on, I can find out based off of the type of frequency that I am trying to ascertain whether or not I'm being exposed. Rule out mold in your house, decrease your heavy metal exposure, have a low sugar diet, decrease your use of acetaminophen because that is actually depleting your glutathione and affecting your body's ability to heal itself as well. Upregulate your NRF2 to increase your antioxidants that we just mentioned. Specifically the NRF2 activator protandim that I think is probably the best one out there, first to market. And we have a ton of research on it. If you're already NRF2 activated with protandim, put NRF2 in the comments. I use fish oils, and I, you know, as a functional med practitioner and chiropractor, I know how toxic sugar is for the body. I never, for a little while, I bought into the fat is evil and sugar's good for you. But if you haven't figured that out yet, that was all, you know, people lining other people's pockets. Cell phone cases, Defender and Safe Shield. Again, sorry for the typos. I wrote that too fast. Those are some great brands. The author of this book, The Radiation Nation, is the co-creator of the Defender case, and I've met him. Radiation diffusers like R2L. Let's see, I've got my husband's phone so you can see it. Basically, like little red light diffuses when it's on the Wi-Fi and actively seeking. No tablets near the body. Our children don't have their own tablets. No AirPods. Those things are the worst. They're literally like electricity right through your brain. EMFs right through the brain. I'm sorry. I know I'm really pissing some people off, but I use wired buds, and that's what we all should do. I know they're not convenient, but if you're using Wi-Fi, you are exposing yourself to higher levels of EMFs and oxidative stress. And then we turn off our Wi-Fi at night and turn our phones on airplane mode in addition. I do live in a townhouse, so I can't reduce everything because my neighbors have their Wi-Fi on, etc. But it did make a considerable difference. And so there you go. Let's see. So recap. Do not keep your cell phone next to your body or in your bra. Put your phone, do not, put your phone at all in the pocket of your pants or even your yoga pants. Don't sleep with your phone near your bed. If you need it, maybe you're a doula or something like that, you need to have it available for you at night because it's your only source of connection to someone and somebody's, needs you at night. Or you use the alarm feature, try to have it 6 feet away. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Don't put your laptop, cell phone, or tablet on your lap if you're trying to get pregnant or want kids. I think you shouldn't put it on anyway, but don't. And it could probably, it's safe to say it's linked to higher rates of miscarriage. But this is true for both men and women. Also, using our technology, I have the chiropractor has to say this, right? We're an eye hunch. This posture matters, and our devices has really, they've transformed how we are sitting, how we're holding our bodies. Besides the pressure on our heads, we are literally creating a decrease in oxygen to our body because of our posture. And then look to see if you can use your EMF shields and see if it has SAR, specific absorption rate value, although that's not everything. When you read the technology books, you'll see that that's only part of the story. Do talk on speaker, use a headset or earbuds so that your phone's not so close to your body. I think a lot of people probably get a kick out of my Siri voice texts. If you voice text also, type in the comments that you use voice text, and you probably have had some really funny bloopers with how Siri or Alexa has interpreted what you say. But try to do that more often rather than putting it up to your head. Limit your Bluetooth use. Remove your Bluetooth headset as soon as you're finished with your call. Switch ears between calls so you can reduce the exposure to one ear. Also consider using a special headset called a Bluetooth, which was designed to help minimize EMFs, turning off the Wi-Fi at night, texting more. Seek good receptions. Actually, the cell phones with better reception transmit at a lower power. They don't have to work as hard. Use a Gauss meter. Again, I showed you this is a little bit more than just a Gauss meter, but to measure the EMFs in your home or workplace. And let's see what's next. Getting close then there. Do, get adjusted, help optimize your nervous system. Eat organic fruits and vegetables, pasture-raised meats, fermented foods, bone broths, nuts and seeds. Get grounded, do some earthing. There are some easier ways. There are easy ways that we can kind of leverage the tools that we have in our environment, like salt lamps and detox baths with Epsom salts and so forth. Be sure to make sure you have adequate magnesium on board, as too little of this crucial mineral will cause problems as well. I like Neuromag, but it depends on what you need the magnesium for. Take this at night. And then the one thing that I will say is probably one of the most important things that I have seen all across the literature, it's in every one of these books, every single article is activating your NRF2 pathway, which basically reduces oxidative stress caused by free radical damage from exposure to the EMFs. NRF2 is a transcription factor that is responsible for the upregulation of over 500 genes in a positive way and downregulates fibrosis and inflammation genes. And we do well to increase that pathway. Some things that you're familiar with, like green tea and chocolate and wine, do activate our NRF2 pathway. But with the amount of exposures that we have nowadays, including all the EMFs that I'm mentioning to you and all the different ways we're connected, we are bombarded way, way more than your beautiful, perfect off-grid diet can do for you. I have patients of mine who live off-grid who are still bombarded. So it's not enough anymore. There are cell towers popping up everywhere. So when we use tools, information, techniques, products, and principles to take advantage on optimizing our life whenever we can, we call this biohacking. Okay, biohacking is even on PubMed. If you are already biohacking in some way, shape, or form, write biohacking in the comments. Okay, let us know that you are already biohacking. Or if you want to biohack and you want to get started, let us know, especially after you see this presentation, the rest of this presentation. Here are some visuals. I'm sorry that it's not perfect. I tried to take pictures of some of the tools that we use in our house. Our tri-field, it's available on Amazon as well. This page picture here is how to take action without reading a single page. And that is what I was mentioning to you earlier, is the bonus, book bonus in the tinfoil guide. The R2L, this is for like even the iPhone X. There are different placements for different phones and diffuse up to 70% of the radiation to light. Though I will tell you that when my this building biologist read the exposure, even though I have a case and an R2L on, there was still an emission of EMFs that was higher than is ideal. It diminished it, but not completely. So we shouldn't have a false sense of security that just because we're using cases and doing all these things that we're fine and we don't need anything else, because believe me, you do. And then a ketogenic diet, as I mentioned, if you remove sugar and have healthy fats for your brain, that'll be a key thing. We are sugar laden as a society, and literally our immune system tanks. And then when you have these open channels, by the EMFs, we're literally set up for a recipe for illness. Smart meter covers, there are a variety of different things out there. I don't want to belabor it too much, wrapping up very shortly. But one of our simplest biohacks that we use in our family, everyone in our family does, and I know many of you do as well, is proven clinically to reduce our oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days on average in all mammals. It upregulates that NRF2 pathway by activating it. Not an antioxidant, not a supplement, but an actual activator, something that helps turn on your body's ability to heal itself and flip the switch. So these are the pictures of ours at home. The Protandem NRF2 activator, this is the bottle that it comes in, and the little yellow pill right there. It can be given to people a variety of different ways. You can crush it if someone doesn't swallow. Definitely talk to the person who shared this event with you tonight if you're curious about Protandem NRF2 and you want to hear more about the history behind it. Other things pictured there are mitochondrial support, probiotics, because EMFs do destroy your gut health. And then fish oil, which we've all probably learned is key for our brain, especially DHA, reduces brain inflammation. So we know we all need that these days. So this is basically how we are biohacking in my family, in addition to the things I mentioned before to reduce our EMF exposure, because we're just not living in the same world we used to. So diving into this information is like stumbling down into a huge rabbit hole. So simplify your life, please. That'll stress you out a lot less. Decrease your time and exposure and frequency with EMFs. 1, increase your distance from sources and increase your awareness. 2, upregulate your body's ability to heal itself by activating and upregulating your NRF2 pathway, and clean up your lifestyle and diet. So please let the person who invited you know what additional information you'd like. There's really so much out there. That the simplest way that I know that's just done and easy every morning is taking my NRF2 activators and turning back on the Wi-Fi, if I need it, and keeping it off if I don't. So I hope that this has been very helpful. I thank you so much for your time and attention. And I don't know if anybody will have any questions, but I'll have to go back and answer them later. So I am going to sign off and hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for understanding and being patient with our technological difficulties. All right, let's see how to get out of here.